All right, everyone, welcome to Road to Recovery this month. This month is a little bit different. We have Luke Gordon. He's the co-founder of Choose Recovery Services, along with his spouse, Alana Gordon. She's not able to join us today, so Luke will be hosting the webinar, and I'll just be facilitating and helping him with that. Something to know as you guys are listening, you have any comments or questions for us, please use the Q&A option. That will send that directly to Luke and myself. I'll be monitoring those and make sure that we get those answered either live here, or we may send you a message follow-up if you happen to include your information. I can do that as well. So please use that Q&A. No one else will see it, just Luke and myself will. It'll keep you anonymous and anything that you say private, but those will be something that we'll share. Luke, what's helpful when people submit questions? What kind of questions are helpful for you to answer?
Anything that's on your mind. Keep them, if you can. The brevity really helps y'all, so we can hit the most important parts of whatever you have. So I know that can be difficult sometimes, keeping it brief because it's complex what you're experiencing. So that's helpful. And but ask the tough questions. Please take the opportunity to get what pain's coming up for you out there.
Great, thank you. Awesome. If you do use the chat, that will be seen by whoever you select. So just be aware of that, and we prefer the Q&A for the purpose of this webinar. Okay, so before we dive into the topic, we just wanted to do just a couple announcements. We're always having really wonderful events through Choose that we feel can really help the people that come to Choose. So Luke, would you mind sharing? You have some exciting news about a new podcast. I wanted to give you a moment to share about that.
Yep, absolutely. So there's podcasts that I'm releasing. I'll have guests on there probably about half the time. The podcast is really about leaning into authenticity. The journey, the whole entire journey is about being authentic for the men that I'm around. And it doesn't need to just be men. Anybody that experiences compulsive behavior when it comes to secrecy and hiding, right away it becomes, for me, it was, okay, I got to get honest. And it was kind of that like, all right, if I can get everything out, then um, then I can just be open and honest and we'll be good. And hopefully after a few months, Alana will stay and then we'll kind of move on back into some version of regular life. And what we find out is being authentic is another level of honesty and truly being seen, and not just by my partner, but feeling like I'm okay with letting other people see me even outside of that relationship. So the whole premise of the podcast is that. So looking forward to those of you who can listen. I know that it's intimidating having Alana and Amy's podcast be as successful as it is. So we'll see how it goes, but looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I love that you're doing this. I know it can be hard to be that vulnerable and share it with the world. So thankful that you're willing to do that. And if that's something that you guys want to listen to, we will be sending an email out after this with links to the things we talk about. It will include that. If you want to be included in our email that comes out, so you know when we have a new episode, you can also shoot me a message and what email you would like to subscribe with. You can either send it to me here, just private chat it to me, or you can email me at info@chooserecoveryservices.com. So super excited about that. A lot of the things we do, Luke, are virtual, right? We have this virtual webinar, we have two podcasts now, and we do our sessions virtually, but sometimes we do some in-person things, right? So we have an in-person event in May. Do you want to talk to that as well?
Sure. In fact, so there we have an intense, one sec. I should never ever eat trout mix before podcast. Give me 1 second.
No problem. Take your time.
That never fails to ever not happen. I don't know why I even try to eat trail mix. Okay. So yeah, so the our intensive coming up is called Unmasked Pause Paths to Authenticity. So kind of on the same line as the podcast, but it's our first one here in Spanish Fork, Utah. Let me just give you a little bit of a glimpse into what you would be experiencing. We have a few spots left if we have any men that are still wanting to be a part of the experience. It's what? When is it, Vanessa? It's in May. May.
Yes, it is. It's going to be May 16th through the 18th.
Yep. So here in Spanish Utah, it's absolutely gorgeous here. But it's going to be 3 days. So it's going to be a Thursday, Friday, and a Saturday, 2.5 days, really. Um, what we're getting into is understanding um, really what gets in the way of authenticity, exploring the meaning of integrity, unmasking your true self. And a lot of it comes from understanding family of origin. So the stuff we'll get into is, okay, family of origin. What does attachment look like for me? How was attachment born? Where did it come into an existence? Why do I care about what other people think? Why does it matter so much? And then I have unique maladaptive coping strategies that come from that. Basically, I cope, and often it's in maladaptive ways that aren't helpful to living an intimate life with other people that I'm close to. And not just understanding what the maladaptive coping strategies are, but how they affect my problematic sexual behavior and also how that affects my partner. So a deep dive into that, that's day one. And then day two is going to be where do I want to go from there, which is once I understand those things, what are the stages of integrity? So a lot of people don't understand like there are stages to authenticity and stages to integrity. So we learn how to embrace the authenticity, letting go of our perception with other people. And, it's really helpful as it's done in a group type setting. And then day three will be about the action plan that exists from what we find out. So that'll be okay, this is where I learned out where I'm at. So how am I going to build that into my safety plan? How am I going to leave the mask behind? And then being able to share that with a romantic partner once I get back and continue with what I picked up. So anyway, that's a little bit about it. I'm really excited about the people that have already decided, hey, I'm going to invest in myself here. So yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a great event. Who would benefit from that intensive? Who's it for?
Um, Really any man in the beginning or the later part of their journey. Uh, it's geared towards both stages, the beginning early stages, and then a little bit further, like a year into the journey. So there's not really anybody that wouldn't benefit from it.
Awesome. Okay, very cool. So we'll send a link and more information about that, as well as if you want to register, and that will be held Spanish Fork, Utah. We'll have one in May, and so far we have another one scheduled to be in July as well. That first date is not the best time for you. So those are some great things we have. I have quite a few things for just to share with you guys. We're not going to take more time because we want to dive into the topic. So please look out for that email that we send later. We'll link some of those other events, groups, and courses that we feel like would be beneficial for you and wherever you are in your stage of the journey. All right, Luke. So it's all you.
Good to go from here.
Yeah.
Then are we going to bring up flow? I'm going to go through a topic, y'all, and then after, as Vanessa already stated, there, please use the Q&A. So I'm going to ask you to bear with me as my ADHD as I get it handled. Okay. So as I go through the topic today, please jump in with the Q&A and just ask for clarifications. Because what I want to do is as I go through this, y'all go, okay, Luke, slow this part down. Because I talked to Alana about it and I said, okay, this is what I'm going to go go through tonight, she said, just make sure you go slow with it. So I'm going to ask you to help me. Vanessa will always do this. I appreciate you, Vanessa. Slow it down for me, saying, hey, that part, could you repeat that again? Could you slow that down? Just help me with pace, y'all, as I go through this and jump in with questions. And then after we're done with this, then we'll go into general Q&A on anything you guys want to talk about. So throw it in there and let's get going. All right. So we're ready to go then, Vanessa?
Yep, go ahead, go for it.
Okay, so my favorite thing ever to talk about in general is attachment. So we have something called attachment theory when it comes to human psychology, which is how do I security, okay? How do I feel secure in this world? How do I feel safe? Like I can explore the world, like I can show up in it. And we think about when we're a little tiny baby and we come into this world, there's people that we count on, okay? So today I'm going to start this conversation with attachment and invite you to think, if you have them, your little people, your kids, okay? And if you don't have kids, think about somebody that you take care of. I'm gonna invite you not necessarily to go to yourself right now in this experience. I mean, you're gonna do whatever you want, but I'm gonna have you think about your kids or somebody you take care of. All right. Now I'm gonna screen share. I'm gonna show something to you. If you're a guy in my group, you've already seen this, and if you're in one of the many women's groups we have, you might have seen it too. And this comes as a request from 3 or 4 people saying, hey, can you bring this up in Road to Recovery? So anyway, as you wish, we're going to talk about it. All right. So Vanessa, can we see like this just blank screen with some arrows?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay. So think about your child and think about one of the kids that's the most difficult to maybe they kind of lean into conflict. They don't mind, like maybe a teenager or a little child. It's like, hey, let me tell you what I think about things, or they state their opinion. Um, and that's really, really healthy. When that conflict arises, whether it's I don't want to go to bed or I want to stay out past curfew because my friends are way cooler than you are, doesn't really matter. We are going to talk about how we lean into that conflict of that situation. Okay. All right. So first thing we do on one axis, we can show up as a parent loving and just define loving, even though it doesn't need any definition. I'm going to make it about my child and not me. All right. Or hostile. Pretty intense word, right? Hostile. Okay. Or I'm going to make it about me, which is I'm tired. I'm exhausted. It's the end of my day. I know you want to hang out with your friends or you don't want to go to bed. Like I'm the boss, I'm in charge, get in line, go to bed. Or loving, which is, okay, I see you, I see you're frustrated. I see that, you don't want to go to bed. Can you look upset, just seeing the child where they're at. Okay. That's one part of the experience. Then on the other axis, you have the other part of the experience, which is, and by the way, if you're one of the men that have gone through this, please jump in and add to the hopefully richness of this conversation by saying, hey, Luke, also bring up this part stuck out to me, or I don't know, seek for more clarification on what you already know. Okay, we have a chance to show one of the other 2 ways, which is firm or permissive. All right. So permissive is the child gets to do whatever they want. The teenager gets to do whatever they want. There are no rules. There are no boundaries. There's no structure. They just at the end of the day. Okay, is uh, firm is there are boundaries, there are rules. The child knows what to expect, or the teenager knows what to expect in that house. All right. Okay, so let's use the chat. Let's see if this works. Because people can wait, hold on. Vanessa, they can chat, but only we can see it, or can they see each other's? Do you remember? Oh, you're on mute.
There should be an option to chat to everyone. However, if that becomes a problem, I could go in and change that setting.
Okay.
Do you
Well,
want them to only send it to us?
no, I'd like to see what people's responses are on this. Okay, so pull out your little chat bar, your chat function, and give me a response here. Okay, as a parent, I'm gonna show up as a combination of these things, okay? And let me show what the combination can be. Loving, making it about my child. Firm, which is boundaried, okay? They know what to expect. All right. Or I could show up another two ways, which is firm and hostile. Again, boundaried, but also it's about me, not about my child. Um, Permissive and hostile, okay? Or permissive and loving. Which one do y'all think? Please add this in the chat. Which one do you think is the most problematic for a child? That's going to create the most problems for them in their current situation in the future? I'm going to give it a second. See if this works for me. If this active participation in a webinar is going to work. I just like it when I hear what you guys have to say with this stuff. It's fun. Okay, one person said, I'm going to read these because it looks like the first person wasn't able to put it to everybody. Hostile and permissive, permissive and hostile. We're like having votes here. This is fun. Okay, so we got hostile and permissive, permissive and hostile. Okay, so we got that for two people so far. Anybody else want to weigh in? Y'all are getting your keyboards out. I'm picturing this. Hostile and firm. Okay, we got somebody's going different. Hostile and firm. So everybody's hanging out on this hostile side, right? All right. So we're gonna let things continue to flow in here. Okay, it's gonna float in. All right. Okay, permissive and hostile is what creates for a child a very disorganized, confused, chaotic space. Okay. And disorganized, like emotionally disorganized. Because think about this. If I and I gotta tell you, I probably would have said hostile and firm also for those people who put that. Okay. And because this firm just is kind of like boundary. What's really problematic for a child is that not just a hostile parent, because everybody's saying that, but is actually a parent without boundaries. A parent where a child doesn't know or a teenager doesn't know what to expect. They're hostile, but also that part. Okay. What's next? Check this out. Hostile and firm didn't even come up yet. Okay. Loving and permissive, which is you can have whatever you want. Okay. Hostile and permissive is I'm going to make it about me, but I'm going to give you whatever you want. Loving and permissive is um, I'm going to see you where you're at and you get whatever you want. So what we can see already is permissive is the problematic part. Okay. I'm not saying these others aren't problematic, by the way. All right. By the way, there's no contest. Actually, you get Road to Recovery free next time if you got it right. That's a joke. Nobody gets it. I don't know why I had jokes, Vanessa. I have no idea why. Okay. So hostile and firm is the next least problematic for a child. Okay. So here's the deal. We know that it becomes less because now we have firm, which is a child knows what to expect. And what are we looking for? The one that creates a really balanced, confident child in that relationship, but also in the future and how they relate to other people of significance is that. I know what to expect from my parents, and my parent can see me where I'm at. It's a big, big deal. Okay, but y'all are like, Luke, I didn't sign up for a parenting class tonight. So can we like stop talking about my kids and can we talk about the pain in our relationship? Yes. Okay, we'll go there next. Nobody put that, but I can imagine you might be thinking it. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. Forget about all this stuff about kids. Okay. The reason I pulled kids in is because really it just reflects on later experiences in life. So everything out here in the gray was me as a parent. Okay. Everything in the white here is my child. Okay. Now let's flip it. Okay. Now I'm going to do everything in the gray is still me. Okay. As the betrayer in the relationship. Okay. The person did the betraying, and everything in the white is the person that I betrayed. Okay. It's going to give you a result, but I'm going to use some different words. All right. So loving, empathic, and which is kind of the same thing, y'all. It's the same thing as loving. It's I can see my partner, whatever's going on with them. I can ask them, what are you experiencing? What's going on with you? I know you're feeling really triggered right now, and you just told me that you want me to burn in hell and you hate my guts. Um, and everything in bad that's happening in life is my fault. Okay. Very appropriate response to betrayal. All right. Um, or you can show up disorganized, hostile, which is I'm going to make it about me. Okay. I can't ask you about you. I'm talking about me to Alana. I can't ask Alana about what she's experiencing, what she's feeling. I'm going to make it about me. Might be a shame fest, might be gaslighting, it might be whatever it is, but I can't focus on her. All right. All right. So here's the other axis. This is this is the problem. Okay. Submissive, not permissive, submissive, which is I'm just going to be whatever I think she wants me to be or the other person. Hey, y'all, I say she when I'm talking about um, the person that got betrayed, but I know that's not fair because that's not always the case. Or, and this is the really, really, really important part, or I stay open and authentic, which is I'm not just going to flex to whatever you need, but I'm going to stay real and authentic with what I'm experiencing. Okay. Now let's combo this because this is really important. It floated in the same way. What creates the most problems for the relationship when it comes to healing is this combination right here. Okay. It creates in a significant other disorganized, confused, and chaotic. Okay. It creates the spouse being scared of their partner. All right. The partner being scared of the betrayed, feeling scared of the betrayer. Really, really intense emotions and experience for them because they can't make it about the person that was betrayed and they are just like going along and going along with whatever. There's no authenticity showing up. Okay. We also recognize the other part that's really problematic is this one, and this happens so often, y'all.
Hey, Luke,
Yeah.
could you give an example of what the hostile permissive would look like if Alana were to come to you and need to talk to you about something?
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. um yeah, it would sound like she would come to me and say, hey Luke, you seem off to me, like something seems wrong. And I'd be like, what are you talking about? Are you like, do you not know how many groups I went to this week? Do you not see that I went to a therapist and I didn't even want to go to a therapist and you made it a part of your boundaries that I have to go to a therapist? Um, I mean, I'll go to one. I mean, I mean, I'll do it. It's not like I have any power anyway. It's like, I mean, got to do whatever you say. I'm powerless. So going along, um, yeah. Does that work, Vanessa?
Yeah, so some things I think I heard you do is you were kind of defensive, but at the same time, the permissive part seemed that you were willing to do what she wanted, but the hostile part was where you were defensive. Am I catching
Mhm.
that right? Okay.
Totally. I'll s- I'll I'll submit to whatever you say. I don't like it, but I'll do it. And I'm letting you know about it, right? And and the reason why it's so destructive, even more destructive, and I'll go down here than hostile and firm, which is I'm not. This is kind of like I am what I am. I'm not broken. You're the person that's broken. I'm not going to do it. It's it's almost more destructive because this person is just going along and kind of keeping their partner engaged and saying, okay, I'm going to do it, but you're the problem and you're the reason why I have to do it, rather than the person says I won't do it. So neither one of them are good. Okay. Neither one of them are helpful when it comes to securing attachment again. All right. Um, but the I want to focus here on this left side, y'all, because this is where we get the well, hold on, top left, okay? Okay, it's a really anxious spouse, okay? A really anxious partner. The betrayed is really anxious, which is they see their partner meet them where they're at and saying, like, hey, I can see you, but they really are just focused on the partner and they're not interested in being authentic because they don't feel like that they really can be, or they're not interested in finding out what's getting in the way of them being authentic and going down here and being open and firm. Okay, can I get some like questions to like this stuff, y'all? Can you guys, Vanessa, appreciate you saying, hey, Lou, give us an example. I'd like you all to like use that Q&A and saying, hey, Luke, what about this? What about that? It's a hard part about a webinar is I don't know what you're soaking in. And while you're getting your questions out, I want to focus on this part, which is really, really difficult. Um, so what we're really, really after when it comes to healing of a relationship is I am empathic. I have empathy for my spouse. I go, what are you experiencing? What's happening with you? But I'm open and authentic and I'm saying, um, what I'm doing not to appease you, but what I'm doing and what I'm struggling with. And this is where the authenticity comes in. This is where the integrity, this is where the intensive is created and the podcast is for me, it was really scary being open and authentic with Alana because I felt like if I did, she would reject me. Um, and it would be sharing when I lied, small lies. Um, it was like recognizing I'm not going to be perfect, but I can also be empathy driven as I share my imperfection. Okay. How do you balance being open and should I go here, Vanessa? Oh, you're on mute.
Yeah, go for it. We had a question come in. Thank you so much for asking that.
So here's the one. How do you balance being open and authentic against being submissive to your betrayed partner's needs? Okay. Good question. So this person who put this in the chat is like staying over here on the empathy side. But he's like, how do I not just go as submissive and how do I stay in the open part? Um, I let go of the outcome when it comes to sharing in check-ins, nightly check-ins with my spouse, what my experiences are. I let go of how this is really, really important. So hang with me and seek clarification. When I check in with my spouse, I go, this is what I'm experiencing, and how does that impact you? I can think about sexual integrity check-ins at the end of the night. Okay, what are you experiencing when it comes to sexual integrity? Um, well, when I was out and about today, what I want to say is I'm good. Like I didn't slip. Okay. When I was out and about today, there were 3 times that I found myself wanting to take a second look. I'm finding out that driving down this road is really problematic for me. And I got what I need to get with my accountability partner to understand that, to understand what action I need to take to create some safety for myself. Um, Here's another example. Uh, my spouse is sharing a trigger with me. And what I recognize is in this moment, I'm having a hard time staying present. So being open and authentic sounds like this. Okay, I can feel myself start to wall off from you. I can feel myself starting to want to get defensive. Okay, I am I'm going to I'm hearing myself want to defend myself and tell myself that you're wrong. And that's on me. That's my stuff. Um, so I'm open and authentic, and I'm not asking my partner to do anything different, and I'm able to understand how that affects them. Okay, so the person that just wrote that, does that make sense? Is that helpful? Okay. They say it does. Thanks. Cool. Um, let's see. So when I stay in this empathic and open and authentic place, what that looks like over an extended period of time, doing it over and over and over again, starts to create for my partner a secure, confident, balanced person. So what I want to say as men with this, I want to speak to you, but really I'm just speaking to anybody that did the betraying, is if your partner is still experiencing a lot of anxiety, or if they're still avoiding you, or they're confused and chaotic and disorganized, it's because you're not consistent with empathy and with open and authenticity. Okay. They don't know what to count on. Okay. So I kind of feel like you might want to throw a shoe at me. I don't know. Because you're like, Luke, I'm really trying to be like open and authentic, and I'm really showing up empathy. But what we know is when it comes to human psychology, is that you create consistency in this area, your partner is going to show up more secure in that relationship. This is the way it works. Okay. And it takes a lot of time to be consistent with that. Again, can't do this with a webinar, but I'm like, how does that make you feel? Like, what are you experiencing? What do you think when I say that? I have the experience sitting with men over again in group setting. And I find myself needing to remind myself that when their spouse is um not when they are feeling anxious or they're disorganized, and I keep looking at the man going like, it seems to me like he's doing it right. It seems to me like he's doing, because that's the only person I'm connected to. That's the only person I'm looking at. I have to go back to myself and I say, it's impossible that he can't be doing empathy and the open and authentic part, or his spouse would be healing and getting better. Again, long period of time, consistency. All right. Vanessa, I appreciated you jumping in earlier. Anything come to mind where you think like, hey, Luke, you might want to clarify this?
I really love the examples. I think that's super helpful. Can you give an example in the permissive to loving, the anxious attachment, and what would that look like in the same scenario?
Okay. So this is where men build, the betrayer builds a script and knows what to say, but really is just going along, and they have a lot of resentment that they have to go along. They're like showing up with the right script, but they're seething. And this was me often in the earlier parts of my journey. Like, I have to go along. And I'm smiling, but I'm starting to come across as like short. And really, there's just a lot of resentment. So in individual sessions, we'll kind of sort that out. We'll be like, hey, what's resentment looking like for you? Oh, no, I don't resent. Why could I resent? I can't resent my spouse. I can't resent her. I mean, you know what I did, Luke, right? Like I cheated on her. I looked at porn forever. I hid it. I can't resent. Okay, well, all right. Can we just provide a little space for that? And then we dig into it and it's like, well, yeah, I'm resenting because I have no power in the relationship. I have no control. Like I just have to go along. And and their spouse is strong and they've got their boundaried, their partner's boundaried, and they have a lot of stuff like I just got to go along. I'm like, okay, can we recognize you do have power? Like you don't have to just go along. You do have a choice, and it takes a long time. And it's like, and then slowly they start to go in the open, authentic part if they can stay empathy driven. What do you think, Vanessa? I'm like using you like I would with Alana, like in this situation. What's going through your mind?
We did have a great question to go along with what you're saying, a clarity question. Are you saying that the betrayer is responsible to regulate the betrayed emotions?
Um, can you say that one more time?
Sure. Are you saying that the betrayer is responsible to regulate the betrayed emotions, the
Yeah.
emotions of the betrayed partner?
Good question. Good question. There is something called co-regulation, which can be healthy. And what that really is one person is grounded and is just kind of present, and that other person recognizes that's a grounded human, and they can, it's not, it's not as difficult for them compared to somebody that's not grounded to get regulated with. So co-regulation is healthy when it comes to that dynamic. It's not, it's no partner's responsibility to make sure that certain their spouse feels something different. So let me attempt to answer this question more directly. Um, no, it is not it is not the betrayer's responsibility to make the betrayed feel a certain way. It is the person that it is the person that did the betraying, the betrayer's responsibility to stay grounded and connected to themselves, uh, if they are going to have any hope that their relationship can um, be secure again. Okay. So that's an opportunity for co regulation because that's what their partner can start to expect. So, person that asked that question, does that answer your question? That's a really good one. I appreciate that. Okay, it says hold. So I'm assuming the person that put a hold. That didn't look like it came from the same person, did it, Vanessa?
No, we received a question that all it said was hold. We're not sure if you meant to include more. So feel free to resubmit.
Oh,
Okay, all right, thank you. They said that they're waiting to respond. So thank you for that.
all right. So, and that co-regulation. Okay, let me point something out here as you guys are formulating these questions. So, check this out. Here's what often happens for the betrayer is when they get over here in the loving slash empathic part, which is seeing their spouse. Well, actually, let's go back to a parent. A parent that's loving that says, "Okay, it looks like you're having a hard time. You don't want to go to bed. It looks like you're feeling sad. What are you feeling?" It's really easy for humans to just kind of drift up to permissive, like to leave. Yeah, we do have rules, but you know what? I can see you've had a hard time. Let's just not do the rules tonight. You know, that's really not helpful for a child. By the way, I'm not comparing the betrayed to a child right now. Okay, so please, I'm not trying to do that. But what we can compare is to what a child or the person that was betrayed can expect from their partner, which is I know I can get open and authenticity from you. You're going to be the same. So what the men that I work with often do is when they get over here to empathic and they see their partner in pain, they want to drift up to just submissive. And they say, you got to stay in the open, authentic part, or this isn't going to work. Okay, Vanessa, what we got? Anything?
Yes. So when you were saying that it's not the responsibility of the partner that did the betraying, they're not responsible for the emotions, for regulating the emotions of the betrayed. Does that mean that they can't sit in those emotions with the betrayer?
No, they're supposed to. Yeah, they're supposed to sit in the emotions with the betrayer. Oh, wait, hold on. But it does mean that the betrayer can't sit in those emotions with the betrayer. Can you interpret that for me, Vanessa? My ADHD brain's not wrapping around that.
I might be wrong, and feel free for the person who asked this question, but I believe what they're asking is they just wanted to receive some clarity when you were saying that they're not responsible for those emotions. That's you're not saying that doesn't mean that they should be feeling empathy for how what they're experiencing, what their emotions are.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. So, um, when okay, so check this out, y'all. So the men that I meet with, they when they're oh man, I'm gonna try not to get myself in trouble here. And when I say get myself in trouble, is this is where I love tag teaming this with Alana because she knows the pain of the person that's been betrayed. She speaks so well to it. Okay. So the men that I work with, when they're when their partner is experiencing a trigger, what they want to do is they want to fix that trigger. Okay. They want to fix it. And I say, you're not responsible to fix their trigger. Don't fix them. Sit with them, hear them, be present with them, stay grounded in your own self. Your partner's capable, um, but don't hurt them more by running away or telling them they're doing something wrong. So you're not responsible to fix it. What you are responsible is stay present with it. Now, I can hear myself that Alana would jump in here, so I'm gonna try to jump in like she would and go, um, this is really hard for somebody new in the journey that's been betrayed because they go, that person hurt me, and they do need to, there's restitution here, right? And they do need to fix it. And she would validate that pain associated with that. And so I want to do what I want to do that too. I want to validate that you didn't pick this and you did get hurt by them, and that makes sense that they would need to be the person that would fix that for you. Um, yeah. Hopefully I'm answering that.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Okay, so we have that formulated answer or question, sorry. How do you demonstrate? This is going along, I feel like, with the last question a lot. How do you demonstrate empathy without regulating her emotions? So, how can the betrayer ground themselves and show empathy? 'Cause I think one of the examples you gave earlier is you may be feeling defensive, you might be feeling lots of emotions. So, how can you ground yourself to go into that conversation and show up in the secure attachment?
Yeah. So I'm going to focus on the last part. So this is the one where is how can they be grounded and show empathy, right, Vanessa? Or is that the next one?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So yeah, I want to focus on the second part of the question. So how can he be grounded and show empathy? That's a good question. So that's why the first leg of the journey is individual recovery before relational recovery. Because I have to figure out how to get secure myself. Because somewhere along the journey, I need to stop sharing my screen because we're kind of done with that part. Um, Somewhere along the journey, I started to, uh, you know, I had maladaptive coping strategies because my primary attachment, my parents, I had to adapt to get what I needed from them. Okay. I had to show up in a certain way. So, so that means I carry that into my relationship with my romantic partner. And I need them to show up in ways that aren't really, they're not healthy. So what that means is I have to get secure inside of myself and be good with who I am. And this is an ongoing process. This isn't like you can't touch relational work until you've nailed this. Okay. But I do have to be able to get regulated myself and be in a dysregul in a I have to be able to come into conflict and be able to stay regulated inside a conflict and not view conflict as bad. Um, and if I can't do that, I can't start to do the relational work. Um, and that's what we find that's what these groups are for. That's what these men's groups are for is they can sit with each other and they can go, okay, what's happening? Why do I get dysregulated? What causes me to get dysregulated? What tools do I need? What understanding do I need to know about what's already happened to me prior to this? Um, and and then they can, and then that's finally they're able to get to a place where there's some psychoeducation done with some deeper work where they can start staying grounded and then show more empathy. Did that answer that one, Vanessa?
I think so, but please feel free for whenever you ask a question, if you have any follow-up to that, please feel free to add that because truly you would know if you felt like we answered it. Luke, you mentioned that our groups can help with that. What groups are you referring to?
Okay. So you have choose 90, which is the first 90 to 180 days of the journey when it comes to compulsive behavior. All right. So I have secrecy and hiding. I don't know how to stop acting outside my values. I'm still in secrecy and still in hiding. Those basic tools of recovery. Once you have those, that's a part of the grounding process. That's part of getting your feet up from beneath you. Then you move into the next stage, which is more deeper level, um, working on secure attachment inside of yourself, but also being able to lean into the relational stuff. Like, how do I, what's the actual process for holding pain for my partner? We have actually specific tools for that. So those are those two separate ones. That's called Choose 180. So you have 90 and then 180.
Awesome. Thank you. And you're pretty open to being able to help people decide which group would be the better fit for them where they're at, right? If they're unsure.
Yep. So just we have a place on the spot. We have a place on the site, y'all. You can get directed to do a consult. So it's just a short 10, 15 minutes. It's not gonna there's no cost associated with it. And we can talk a little bit more about what you're experiencing so you can get directed to the right place. And it's also one of the things we do for those of you who aren't a part of our groups. Groups can be a very intimidating experience. I know it was for me. Um, I didn't know who I was going to see there. I didn't know what in the world they'd be talking about. I didn't know what I'd have to share. So what we'll do is create a soft landing place, which is, hey, come one time and let's talk for a minute after the experience and just make it a soft place to land.
Yeah, thank you, Luke.
Mhm.
Oh, would you be able to speak to I know we have some participants that have been with us before, but if someone's joining us for the first time and maybe they haven't done, they're just not sure where to start. What do you and Alana recommend is the best thing, and what do you recommend for each partner?
Yeah. Um, if you've never even showed up in this work at all, and I recognize there's things you've tried and things you haven't. Um, there's stages to the journey. The first stage is actually takes a significant period of time where you make attempts to change behavior, but you're unsuccessful. And what we suggest that you do is you meet with somebody. It doesn't have to be us. We're not advocating that we're the only place that has the answers. What we say is hey, just talk with somebody for 15, 20 minutes. Let them listen to what you're experiencing, understand what the pain is, what you're experiencing with the pain, and then they'll make some recommendations. Usually, um, it's one of three spaces that you start to lean into. I actually call this three-legged stool, which the first thing that can happen is you let somebody else know what you're experiencing that's been in the journey longer and is on the other side. That's like a sponsor or a mentor, somebody that gets what you're experiencing. The next part is getting a one-on-one, group support. And then the other part is getting one-on-one support through a coach or a therapist. And I needed all three, but it's not necessarily something where everybody needs all three. But what we do is we say, okay, stop believing your own thinking. Just attempt to break the pattern by doing something you've never done before, which is asking somebody.
Yeah, thank you, Luke. Yeah, so this next question is just asking more about those groups. What's it like to be in the Choose 90 or Choose 180, and why is it so important?
So 90 is important because there's tools and resources. The number one thing that comes from groups is you become shame resilient, not shame proof, but you're around men. The thing that surprised me when I went to groups the first time is I thought, oh, wow, these guys are like cool, normal people. In fact, they're successful. They're intelligent. In fact, I'm kind of confused because I thought that all these guys would be middle-aged white men and they drive white vans with no windows. Sorry, that might not be the completely appropriate. Like just something's wrong with them, right? No. You find out you're not intrinsically broken because you're hearing other people talk about something that you've been experiencing. You didn't invent any of this behavior. Other people experience it. So that creates some shame resilience because you're able to process something at a different level. So that exists at a 90 or a 180 experience. But 90 is pretty much it's rigid. It's like, hey, here are the tools, here's the process, here's the accountability, and then you move right through it. 180 is a little bit longer stage of the journey. Um, but you're gonna go there and you'll be encouraged to participate. It's small groups. Uh, Actually, it's high participation, a lot of back and forth, a lot of, hey, this is what's coming up for me. And then a lot of stuff that happens between groups. I don't know if I did a good job articulating that. Vanessa, do you have anything to add to that?
I think that helps a lot. One thing you might also want to know is currently all of our groups are live. They're 90 minutes each week. So you would sign up for the group that works best for you, and you would be in the same group as other guys. There's about 8 in our bigger groups, maybe 10 right now is our largest group. So they're not very large. Um, so that's some things to know about that. And we also have some digital content as well. So you have some worksheets, some tools that you'll have access to as well. Luke might say, I want you to work on this week, and there's a place for you to journal those things as well. So that's just some other information for you too.
Yeah.
Um, when you register, you do an intake session with the coach that leads your group. So right now we have Cy B and Luke Gordon that run Choose 180 and Choose 90. So whichever group you join, you'll be meeting with them one-on-one initially in your journey in doing that. So hopefully that helps. Let us know if you have any follow-up questions about that. There is a comment about shame. Shame doesn't survive being seen. Group work has helped me open up and not feel lonely.
Thank you for
Thank
saying that. It's
you.
very, very true. One of the faulty core beliefs in addicts is if people truly knew me, they wouldn't love me. So um, hopefully this doesn't scare anybody away from coming, but I'm going to go ahead and say it anyway. I'm not trying to trick you, but one of the things when you show up in the first group is you say, what do you want us to know about you? And what do you not want us to know about you? And that what I don't want you to know about me, it's really powerful because men show up and we go, I usually try to make it funny. You can say anything from what you don't want us to know about you is I'm a Cowboys fan or, hey, I experienced sexual abuse when I was, as a child, so some of these men just really get real with their experience and then they watch other men not flinch and they're like, I got you. I love you. I care about you. You matter to me. And we're like, what? Like, seriously? Did you not hear what came out of my mouth? Like, you should be running from me. I don't understand. And it confuses them. And it's beautiful to watch them be confused after they've shared something. And you only know this if you've been in a group. And I recognize that we have groups for the betrayed too, and it's a similar experience. So.
Yeah, thank you, Luke. And we do have groups for women who are the betrayer as well as betrayed men's support group as well. So we have both. This next question, I'm really glad that you're asking this question. How much of your program is Christian faith-based?
A lot of our people inside of our groups have the Christian faith and faith like first thing. So we don't take curriculum and make it based upon any faith, but we absolutely respect that. And people will pull it into group and we're all going to hold space for that. So it's, it's something where we're going to give that space for it, but it's not like we're going to pick apart and we're going to center everything around a certain faith with it. I didn't try to avoid your question. Hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah. Let us know if you have a follow-up to that, if that answered the question. I think I hear you, and Luke, as I'm talking to people as well that ask that question. So what I hear you say is, while we have a lot of people in our groups that like to share their Christian faith, it's not directly a part of our curriculum.
Yep. Did I see one in the chat itself about groups for kids? Am I seeing that right?
Let me see.
Chat.
So we do have some groups for teens right now. If you have someone younger than 13, and you know what? I should actually specify. Our groups right now for teens are for kids that are affected by their parents' betrayal. We don't have right now a group for teens that are struggling with their own sexual impulsive behavior. So I'm not sure exactly what type of group you were wondering about, but we have support groups for children, adults, and teens for betrayed partners. I'll send that in the email as well. We have resilient teens and adults group as well. They're both led by Morgan Ellsworth. She's actually the daughter of Hallie Roderick on our team. And so she's coming at it from a professional, but also with her own experience of experiencing her parents' betrayal and how it affected her. So that is a great group as well, if that's something that you feel like your adult or teenage kids are needing.
Yeah, thanks for saying that. Yeah, we're recognizing that often the forgotten is the kids in this, and we don't want it to be that way. Their healing is just so important. So we have resources and professionals that can help guide you through that. That
Yes.
not wait.
And we do have team members that work one-on-one with teens that are struggling, as well as adult kids that may be struggling with their own sexual compulsive behavior or sexual integrity issues, maybe not necessarily compulsive. So that's
So
definitely as well.
you're on here feeling like you want to continue on the conversation with, hey, what about this? I want to talk about kids or I want to talk about teenagers. Just please book just a few minutes with us just so we can talk about it, because we want you to have that one-on-one time, get your specific questions answered.
Yeah, I'll put that in the chat so you can see where to book with us, and we'll include it in the email as well.
I think we made it through everything, right, Vanessa?
We did. Thank you guys so much for coming and for adding your value to your questions and your comments. We appreciate it. And thank you, Luke, for sharing with us.
Of course. All right, everybody. Thank you, Vanessa, for making sure that everything got taken care of and helping me host. I appreciate that.
Happy to help. All right. Oh, we do want to let you know we won't be holding Road to Recovery in May since it does land on a holiday weekend. We'll have some other resources. Otherwise, we'll see you in June.
All right, everybody. Have a good rest of your weekend, and we'll talk to you later. Take care.